Hi guys, welcome to yet another video on the series of video that we are doing on the topic grammar for Central Universities entrance examinations. So, like the earlier videos, today also we will be discussing some important aspect regarding grammar. So, in today's video, we'll be talking about the common mistakes that we commit in the area of grammar while we are writing the examination. Also, this will be helpful not just for examinations and also for writing in general. So without any further ado, let's get started with the video. So before I go on to the subject directly, I have to give a basic understanding that why is good grammar really important. So why? Because grammar is a very essential tool in the writing field, also in the case of communication. So only if we use very good grammar that it will help us to communicate in a much better way, right? So effective communication, in the place of effective communication, good grammar is very essential. So this is not only uh, related to the academic area, or it also is influential in our personal interactions also. So coming from an academic and professional settings to a personal interactions, we can see that good grammar plays a major role. So also we see that it serves as a foundation for a clear and coherent communication. So whenever we are communicating, even if it's through writing or through a conversation, if we want to convey our ideas accurately, we always need to use good grammar. By good grammar, I mean correct usage of grammar. So if we have a basic understanding of what is the correct form or what is the correct usage of grammar, it will be very helpful for us to it will ensure that our ideas are conveyed accurately. So let's look at some of the common mistakes that we commit in the case of grammar. So the first area is the area of subject-verb agreement. I think most people have a misunderstanding related to subject-verb agreement. Most people commit some minor, small mistakes in the place of subject-verb agreement. So whenever we are talking about subject-verb agreement, the first thing that we have to make sure that we have a clear understanding of the basic factor here. So the basic definition for here in the subject-verb agreement is that what are we replacing, right? So if we are talking about a singular subject, we always have to use the singular form of the verb. If we are talking about the plural subject, we are always have to use the plural form of the verb. So the only thing that matters here is the subject used in a sentence singular or plural. So whenever we using the correct form of subject verb agreement, it ensures that we are communicating in a very accurate way. So one such example uh, I have shown here is the sentence which says the team are winning. So even though in informal communication or indirect communication that we have with our friends or family, etc., that we say generally the team are winning, but in the case of correct grammar, this is not correct. The correct form here should be the team is winning. Why? Because if you look at the subject here in the sentence, which is the subject, it is the team, right? And team comes under a category called collective noun. So always whenever we using collective nouns, we should use the singular form of the verb, which is, not are. So like I mentioned before, this is a very common mistake that we commit in the examinations also. So whenever we are seeing an error spotting question, if we have a clear understanding of the subject verb agreement, you'll be easily able to solve. So always keep in mind the main idea of subject verb agreement, right? And the another major area is the apostrophe misuse, right? So we use apostrophe to show possession, right? So such as if as I've written in this particular sentence, it says the cat's toys are on its bed, right? In the case of its, I have used apostrophe, but whenever in the case of the word cats, I haven't used the apostrophe. So we have to use the apostrophe to show the possession and also form contractions, right? So apostrophe is a very essential thing. This is very essential whenever we are writing essays, right? So we always have to make sure we use apostrophes accurately, right? If we are not using it accurately, the meaning may change, right? So in order to show possession, we have to use apostrophes accurately. So apart from this, another major area is repeated usage or redundant phrasing, right? So it involves using unnecessary words or repeating ideas throughout the sentence, right? So this is very helpful in the case of questions which are related to parallelism, right? So the very main idea or objective of parallelism is to make the sentence grammatically equal, right? So there we have to look for words or phrases that are repeatedly used, which are actually unnecessary, right? So in the case of this particular sentence, it says the main point of the research study is summarized concisely and briefly. So take a look at this particular sentence. Do you see anything unnecessary, right? So it says the main point of the research study is summarized concisely and briefly. So if you come to the last part, it says concisely and briefly, which actually means the same. So we could actually remove that last part and rewrite the sentence as the main point of the research study is summarized concisely, right? That itself is necessary. So I always advise everyone to eliminate unnecessary words and phrases so that whatever we have written is much more concise and we are able to give a much more clearer meaning, right? So this is very helpful in the case of questions related to parallelism, right? And moving on to the next one, which is the usage of inconsistent verb tense. So one of the main areas of grammar is the tenses part. So it is very essential that we have a basic understanding of the present tense, past tense, and future tense, so that whenever we are writing, or also it's really helpful whenever we are doing error spotting questions, right? So if you have a basic understanding of the tenses, you'll be easily able to spot the errors in a given sentence. And also, right, whenever we write in a incorrect tense form, it is the meaning of the sentence is very unclear. So in order to have a proper communication, in order to convey the message that we have written, we need to make sure that we use the consistent verb form throughout, right? So for that, we need to have a very basic understanding of the tenses. And yet another case is the pronoun. So another very usual or a very common error is in the area of pronouns, right? So it involves when we use the wrong form of a pronoun in a sentence. So which again leads to inaccuracy in grammar. So in the case of pronoun that we need to understand that what are we replace. So the very basic definition of pronouns is what? It is the word that we use instead of a noun in a given sentence, right? Isn't it? So basically this can be observed in error spotting questions, right? So in the question, we have to look forward, what are we replacing in the sentence? By meaning, what are we replacing? I'm talking about, are we replacing a subject or are we replacing an object in a given sentence? We know that every sentence is in English is written in the form of subject plus verb plus object. So we have a subject and we have an object in a sentence, right? So in the case of pronouns, what are we replacing? So you have to look for that. So if we are replacing a subject, we have to use the subjective form, right? And if we are replacing an object, we have to use the objective form. So this is the main idea. So take a look at this particular example. It says, between you and I, the project was a success. So this sentence is incorrect in grammatical sense, right? Because see this particular sentence. We are actually talking to a person here, right? We are saying between you and I, the project was a success. So whenever we are talking to another person, there is an indirect subject there. So that particular person to whom we are talking is the subject here. So the part that you and I becomes the object here, right? So we have to use the objective form instead of either. So the correct form of the sentence becomes, between you and me, the project was a success. So the thing about pronouns is that we always have to ensure that we use the correct form of pronoun, right? So that whatever we have written is concise and clear. So with this understanding, if we have a very clear understanding in the case of subject-verb agreement, in the case of tenses, and also in the case of pronouns, we will be able to solve questions related to parallelism, questions related to error spotting. So in the case of error spotting questions, most of them are related to errors regarding tenses and subject-verb agreement. So if we have a proper understanding of those, we will be easily able to solve these questions and we will be easily able to save much more time, right? So I guess with that, we have come to the end of this very short video. Stay tuned for more videos. We'll be coming with more videos. Thank you, guys.